לראות את הבן שלו. הייתי בשבעה משפחה? כן, כן, הייתי פה באחת השנים שזה נמתה בזך באב. אז הרב יהודה מוצפי היה מגיע בשופרות וסופרים, זה היה לי חוויה, זה היה דברים שלא רגילים.
אז רגע, אז אתה הגעת בגלל...
הגעתי בגלל שהיה לי כרטיס שקניתי לפני 3 שנים.
אבל לא קשור לראובן.
לא, ראובן באתי רק ללוויה ויומיים מהשבע בחפות של אבל כרטיס שקניתי לבוא לחתונה של הבן של אחי, אז היה הקורונה. והיה צריך להיות 14 יום בידוד, מה אני אעשה? אז אמרו לי שחייבים לנצל אותו עד סוף השנה הזאת. אז באתי שבוע שעבר, זה מלא, החגים שלהם ושומעים. זה ביום שלישי בלילה.
בסדר, אני אמור לחזור ביום ראשון בבוקר. לקבל את הסרט הזה. הגוי הזה, אני לא מאמין שהוא יעשה בעיה ולהביא לו את זה.
כן, כן, נכון, אבל היא כל פעם שאני תגיד, ממש ישרה לנסגר לפני שבועיים, אמא שלי ממש לא מרגישה טוב, מה יקרה, מה היא תעשה, מה יקרה, אנחנו נדע.
לבד? מה התמודדה? כשהאימא הייתה, אני הייתה מגיעה לשם הכנסת, עכשיו היא כבר לא מגיעה.
מהקורונה הם לא הגיעו.
לא, האימא הייתה מגיעה מדי פעם.
כן. באתם גם לתוספות.
לא.
Oh, good. You
wouldn't answer.
אמרו שיש לו, בינתיים יש שלושה, אבל יש לו יותר כן, כן, המשפחה, הוא רבי לא, תהיה בריא גם.
I thought it was even a Shemitz for the possibility to go that way, do all that for you kill yourself and the narrow is all for nothing. I mean, basically not
I keep something back. Okay, well, whatever.
where we left.
Doing? See you again.
Sorry to meet you here.
Taking a picture of your grandfather?
Trying.
Try.
He's not going to.
He doesn't travel well.
Unless he went from Florida to Chicago,
Yeah, he's not good. Yes, it. Are you learning Staggerlist?
I was trying.
Oh, yes, really? Wow. You're trying. You going back home anytime soon or no? Yeah. Keep it there before you come home, you're taking it off.
I just wanted to cut it this way.
Well, actually, my friend sent me to tell him.
I didn't have time. Trying to get everything set I thought if I know I would have done a Teterboro, I would have had something there. Like, but I just didn't have time for that. You got here.
I don't think we know.
No, I know you
16 years old.
One time, let's get to the other side.
Okay, but this is because I want to wait till she comes. I mean, let's no. Listen. Listen, okay, like.
Just take the whole island at once.
Okay,
Cuidado, boss.
You came with a bus?
There's not no
so we're talking about the quality determines, right? You choose the quality of life that you want. It goes the right way. And fighting? Never complain? Rabbi Morris Esformes. Thank God. He took it out of my hand. He was on it. Flatlined in the middle of everything. It was like, what just happened?
Yeah, he knows her.
I thought you were coming in January. You're back there.
All right, so I'm here a little bit earlier.
Say, where'd you get the guy? I was supposed to leave next week. Did I mistake?
Really?
It's not critical. She's about to check. So it's okay. She's okay. She's probably supposed to come. I should take both of them. Come down. A couple of weeks when he's be able to come, then it's
Yeah, we're going to go to the energy.
Yeah. Okay. Buy whatever's left.
Just two, my brother.
Till 7 o'clock. Till 7 o'clock.
It's nice.
No, Shabbat is not.
I first came to the
Took your business.
I'm the morning.
You know what I'm saying?
I'll try the house.
I hope to have the Shabbos here. Because originally, they told me this.
Met him when I was 16.
Few years.
Or maybe ask Mommy. I sent Adina a credit card number. You could use it.
At the end.
And it was.
He did not need to make any.
I know.
It changes every 5 minutes and everyone says something.
Fish bite from my hand.
That's what he said yesterday. I said someone 2-3 times till you open the door. That's and he met him outside. He didn't meet him inside. He met him outside.
Get the suckers. Yeah.
Changes his mind.
No, I'm not driving.
Sister.
No. You don't gotta get right there. So what we tried to do.
I told my grandfather something was very happy.
Right Aaron's here. He's here.
I told my grandfather was very excited.
But what we were trying to do for practice, what Rick's doing, we're taking our paths.
I put them credit.
If we have a path. The reality was, yeah, what? Some level,
Yeah. He's 12 minutes out. You might tell him it's 5 minutes, but well, this is
What? No, everyone's walking up. And it's fine, everyone got through there.
I told Mike yesterday. He did a
Nothing's going on there. Be quiet.
He didn't have to put on his camera because of our hiring hours. We see each other, which made for easier.
He did have an insistence. I'll send you a bill.
You think we know so much? So they, Dr. Roosevelt
Yeah.
So these just leave it coming in the sound. Give it to know. I see what's going to be.
But in March, it's not like
Talking about consulting.
We've been here. We've been here 4 years.
Somebody did.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know where she was stuck. They were behind us.
I said, just look, don't wait, listen to what happened. It's a waste, right? No, no.
Wanted to know what was wrong. Because they're also I didn't see you call until much later. I'm sorry, I wasn't helpful. I'm sorry. But also, my sister-in-law made a wedding. A lot of
You can't even get nothing. If you want
Why not?
I think it was over a while back.
You want to go down? Once the man go down, you want to see my life.
Right.
Then once the man go down.
Anyway, so.
But it's not so much.
16 years old.
More land. Either 80s and have to move.
Every 4 of them was taken.
روح على 11 8 ساعات شغل.
So Renan went through my mother's. I was hoping every hour. Because it wasn't the point where I thought it was useless situation. I'm not. Yeah, I don't know. I thought maybe by some chance if I used up something.
There's enough from Jews in Chicago that it's zero.
You're fundraising as well as that's
I asked for money a lot of times. Yeah.
Hello.
You should say I'm I know for sure, but we have to say. Come back.
Come back as a field goal. Yeah,
nobody wants to do that.
I used to in Chicago with mine.
העולם שלנו היה צעיר. מה, אני ראיתי אותו?
Oh, he'll be fine.
באוגוסט. אוגוסט. זה לא לפני שאני עשה משהו בשבילו, אפילו לא, ספטמבר. לא אוגוסט, ספטמבר, בגלל שהוא הגיש איזשהו מקום שם, אז הלכתי. הוא לא הרגיש.
I'll tell you my issue is I don't want to get up money. I don't want to
כן, תגיד לי, האוטובוס השני כבר הגיע? כמה זמן יש לו? למה? בסדר גמור. בסדר גמור.
I don't know if that's like specifically.
What? All of them, both of them. The schmaltz was another presentation. Yeah, then we should give it out there.
I heard about it before.
What did you pay for the bulk of it? The father took a vote for the bulk of it.
I don't know who's the rebbe, brother. Newark Airport. The picture sitting together.
Yeah.
Should bought a wheelchair. I told him it's a schwer thing. I'm carrying it most of the way. For me, it's about to come down. So I told him he had to come with the car. So he left his phone. He told me to come with a taxi. We'll pay for it. That's
אבל זה רק הפירוט שלו עושה.
He's the only one who could do
ודאי.
Still younger. I walk a little bit and I undereat. That's the very biggest. The less I eat, the better I feel.
Okay. I never tried that.
I keep my story.
You know the shelf in the yeshiva?
finally chosen. No, I wanted the money came in. Well, you should. He's getting the same amount of pounds. Pound went down. Like 20%.
Dr. Michael Friedman, אתה מכיר מישהו מייק? אז זה הבן שלו. אז כשהייתי ילד על שם הסבא שלו. The old city now?
It's an old city. It's outside.
What's that place called? Museum. Yeah, there's a museum there. What's it called? It's the fancy one. My wife's nephew is a Chabad. He says, I'm starting to that few years. Really? He says, yeah. But apparently he created like a community. It's
So someone had like $60,000. So today it's worth
לא, שמעתי שלפעמים אחד צריך משהו, צריך כסף משהו, אז הם עושים יחד, עוזרים אחד השני שלא מכירים אחד השני בכלל. אפילו במקומות שונים. שם למטה ליד הגדר. הוא הספיק לגדר את זה. אתה רואה את המקום הזה? כן, לא בלתי aware.
What? He's down. He's right there.
Abrami, you want me to have him come up? Okay.
People don't I start to learn but that's what
levaya for my uncle, Rabbi Morris Esformes. Our first masbid, being a very, very, very dear and close friend. Dr. Neil Every
time you came to Eretz Israel, it was a Kabbalah Sponim. Your face was smiling. I hugged you. There was a closeness. This is not a Kabbalah Sponim. For me, it's not a Kabbalah Sponim for you. But that's what the Rebbeinu Shlom has in plans. Dispod v'sara v'liv kaisa. Usually, the bechi, the cry, precedes the hesped. But here, Avraham Avinu preceded the hesped before the bechi. Sorry Imenu was sorry Imenu for the whole world. Moshe, you were that person. The loss is not just a loss for the family, which is a tremendous loss, not only a loss for your friends, your chaverim, but it's a loss for the whole world, for the whole Torah world. You were a Gavra Rabbah, a great man. You accomplished great things. Great things. You made the city of Chicago a Torah city, something it was never before. You opened up kolos, you backed yeshivas, you helped with other people to make Beis Yaakovs. You were from the leading Balabatim, Torah people who created Torah in the city of Chicago. The city, I grew up in the city of Chicago. The city of Chicago that I grew up, and it is now, is not the same. And that difference is because of you. Lispod L'Sora, have to be Mefarsim. You're Gavra Rabbah, you're a giant. A giant. But sometimes giants, you can't speak to them. They're always involved only in the tzibur and yonim. But bebchina, anyone who came into your office with any problem walked out with a smile. You were there not only for the tzibur, you were there for the yochi too. Anyone who had a problem and was able to come in by you walked out with a smile. You were able to help them. Bebchinas David HaMelech, that with the Gans Klal Yisrael on his shoulders, but he was Isaac and being matir noshim for their husbands. This was your greatness. And with all that, you were kofuf to Gedela Yisrael. many people, many Gevirim, many Negidim, they think they can tell Gedolei Yisrael. Their das is on the other understand the problem is better than Gedolei Yisrael. But you were always kofuf to Gedolei Yisrael. You always listened to Gedolei Yisrael. You always felt to push whatever the Gedolei Yisrael felt. Moshe, smach b'tzeisecho. Torah says, smach zevulun b'tzeisecho. You were the zvulun of the door. Smach zevulun, because of you, hundreds and thousands of bochrim and avrechim learn and are still learning. Smach zevulun b'tzeisecho. Moshe, you have nothing to be frightened of. You were the zvulun of the door. Smach zevulun b'tzeisecho. Ribono Shalom. Bila lametzach, bila hamovas lanetzach, hamoch Hashem Elokim, dima miyal kol ponu.
Amen. We all lost a friend, and I feel like I lost a brother. Moshe, you opened up the hasagas of everyone in Chicago. Mitzvahs, HaKadosh Baruch Hu pays according to the amount of heart that was put into it. Reb Chaim Shmulevitz would always say that Avraham Avinu, for one time giving the food to the Malachim, the entire Jewish people got 140 years in the desert. He said when he gave it, it was a different heart. Ad Kedei Kach, he told the story about Rabbi Chia, that it came the time for him to die, and the Malach HaMavis couldn't take his neshama. So he knocked on the door and he asked for a piece of bread. Rabbi Chia gave him for sure. Then the Malach HaMavis said, you have Rachmanis. He showed who he is. And the poor man, you have Rachmanis. Why don't you have Rachmanis on the Malach HaMavis? And he gave him his life. Rabbi Chaim Shmulevitz asked, what kind of question is that? Everybody would give a piece of bread. For that reason, they'd give away their life. But he says, Rabbi Chia, when he gave a piece of bread, he gave his life. Mori, you opened up Moshe, you opened up the hasagas. Who cared about a person like you cared? When an Indian that you took, you know, no boundaries. A person would come in, many times you would cry with them. Things no one would imagine what you did for people. They're a real friend. And I know incident where dropped everything in Chicago. A person had cancer. It took them a week to Israel to get brachas. Who thought of such things? You open up the hasagas both in your own and what it means to give from yourself, both from your time, from your heart, and from your tzedakah. You opened up the hasagas for everyone. A real yedid. And also, I want to speak also as a brother. What he did, one year when we first started, he started our koilo in Yerushalayim. In a situation that wasn't a good year financially. He went around with me an entire week at night times collecting money. Man, his position to go personally around the whole city. And once we needed a loan, he couldn't give it. He went to a Gvir himself to the house and asked, he's the levaya. So the person told me, I told you that Moshe's a nice guy. That's the way he treated people. Also, they ask a person, the Chofetz Chaim says, it says, Asher lo nosel ashav nafshi. Who's going to be a Yalla Hashem who didn't carry the soul in vain? Chofetz Chaim gives a mashal about carrying the soul in vain. He says that somebody borrowed $10,000 from a loan fund, and next year he came exactly in time, pay back. But the fellow the loan fund saw it's the exact same bills that he lent him. Says he didn't use the money the entire year. Says, if you didn't do Averis, what did you accomplish? Moshe Yitzchak, what you accomplished in your lifetime. How many yeshivas, how many kollelim, how many people you've helped. You made a tremendous difference all over the world. In Chicago, as Rabbi Daniel spoke, and all over the world. It's all. It says, Kodesh Baruch Hu saw Anshi Maisim Be'ema Muatim Ahmed V'Shoslan B'Kol Davadar. One person, an irreligious person from Federation, told me they like Esformes because he's a man of action. Ahmed V'Shoslan B'Kol Davadar. Talking is cheap. Omer Harbe Voye Voisemat. Rabbi Yerucham says the more they speak, the whole energy goes into speech and nothing is done. The Anshe Maisa, whatever you believed in, you made sure was done. And the Chofetz Chaim says also, it says, the Rebbeinu Shalom says, I have enough reward to pay the ones who loved me. What's the Chiddush? Rebbeinu Shalom has enough reward to pay. But the Chofetz Chaim says, as it says in the Vilna Gaon, that each word of Torah a person learns is another mitzvah. So the Chofetz Chaim makes the cheshbon. You can speak 200 words in a minute, 12,000 words in an hour, 120,000 words in 10-hour learning a day, and a month 3,600,000, and a year 43 million mitzvahs. Now, what happens if you have a company? Then everybody's making 43 million each year, and the company, they're growing. Each one is growing and growing. Says the Machzik Torah, that the hundreds of people are learning, each one is making 43 million, and then they have Talmidim, and then they have children, and each one, their schus goes back to the original one who made it. To such an extent, he says that the Kodesh Baruch Hu has enough to pay only with the Midah B'Alin Gvul, because he's infinite. Then he has enough to pay. But Moshe Yitzchak, you're the one who created Torah infinitely for Doiris. There are thousands and thousands who learn Torah throughout the world. And the people, there's so many people you helped, that they were down and out. And you did things beyond anybody would think. All of us lost a friend, and we lost a brother, and a teacher. Chazal say that even a person learns one thing from a person, he has to call him Rebbe Yalufim Yudoi. You're a Rebbe and a mentor for the generation of widening our asagas in life. What chesed is, what tzedakah is, what feeling for another person is, how to support Torah and to make sure things get done. A man of action. May you rest in Gan Eden with the great Tzadikei Ador, and be a Melech Yosher for your son and for the whole family, and Bila Amav Lanetzach. And may we all learn from your Maisim Tovim. Amen.
We'll now have Renan Robinson, a nephew.
Hello.
Rabbi Morris, I just want to say a few divrei preda. Address it more from the mishpacha. From the mishpacha. Everyone's already spoken about your tremendous chesed, which is legendary, the Avas Hashem, the Avas Yisrael, the teachings you used to teach us. We're all one mishpacha, all these lessons. I just want to bring out one lesson that you always taught us. Yechiel said, your dear son, he said, I saw in one of the Telzer videos, and he was saying, being part of the mishpacha obligates. It's mechayev. Because being part of Morris Esformes meant you can't be a little person. You had to try to think big. You had to think big in Torah, big in Chesed, big in Avas Hashem. Your heart had to encompass everyone and everything. Because everything you did was on a different plane. It was a greater, a bigger Maisa. It was a different league. And as the midah of great men, it wasn't enough for you to be great. You always wanted everyone to be great. Every Moisad had to be the best Moisad. Every person had to have what they needed. I remember, going back a long time ago, when we were kids, he had a Mishnayos year in Yeshurun. And he didn't just teach Mishnayos, he inspired us to be great. He'd always say a good word. How are you learning? How are you doing? I heard you're learning well. Keep it up. His words were always encouraging, making people greater and greater. He was always trying to make us great. And Mamela, since everything you did was on a different plane, your relationships with the mishpacha also were in a completely different plane. You were an uncle, but you weren't just an uncle. You were like a father to us. Every decision in our lives you were part of, and you cared. You always wanted to move us on to go to greater places. Your relationship with Rick and my wife was legendary. You weren't just an uncle. You were literally a father to us. How are you doing? What can be better? Weiter and weiter. And your relationship with Avram was like a father to a son, literally. It wasn't just an uncle, it was on a different plane. How you cared so much. He loved you so much, Avrami. But if he cared so much about his nieces and nephews, you can only imagine how much he loved his children. There was never a conversation that we had with him where he didn't mention my Yechiel, he didn't mention my Rivki, he didn't mention my Rochi. Your happiness was literally his happiness. He was part of every part of your lives. And he was much more than a father. He was much more. Every success and happiness was his happiness. And every pain that you felt, he felt so acutely, it was his pain. The marachas and the battles that he fought. He came to Eretz Yisrael to come daven for his children. It's legendary. People don't just get up and take off from their lives and daven, and they come to Gedolim and get brachas. And weiter. He thought about you 24/7. Incredible. But there's one more relationship which we have to discuss, I personally have to discuss, was your relationship with your sister. It was a lesson for all of us what being a brother is, and loyalty, and responsibility for your family. And there's no brother and sister that were closer, I don't think ever, I can imagine. Through thick and thin, they were always there for each other, and you're always there, Uncle Morris, you're always there for us. And And as a friend also, he was more than a friend to everyone. He was proactive in his friendships. How many friends of his have to say, how many people here that are standing right now can say honestly, Morris, we owe you our lives? How many moistos only exist? Not that he helped along, he started. He said, come to Chicago, I'll have your back. He started moistos, and he pulled them through. How many moistos exist only because of him? And the Mela, as great as you were, the loss is now so great. It's hard to fathom how to continue. You were so molichius, and you gave us so much life. And now, but like we said, being part of Morris Esformes meant becoming greater, a little greater. And that's mechayev us to continue your legacy. That's mechayev us to live on a greater plane, on a higher plane. If we're going to learn Torah, we're not going to be a pasha learning Torah. We're going to be great in Torah. He would tell me before I became a Rebbe, he said, you're going to be the best Rebbe. You have to be the best Rebbe. You're going to be their father, you're going to be their mother, you're going to be their brother and their friend. And it goes without saying also that there's never, like we said, there was never a conversation we didn't mention his children and his grandchildren. And he loved them so much, and when he would mention their names, he would like only Morris could see, could light up, and there's a sparkle in his eyes. And we mentioned everyone. He always said, this grandson, this granddaughter is doing this grandson is doing that. We were a little jealous even. His heart was there. But Uncle Morris's heart was big enough to hold everything. And therefore, like we said, that being part of Uncle Morris, of Morris Esformes, is being greater. If it's going to be Torah, it's being great in Torah. It's going to be chesed, it's going to be great in chesed. Looking for someone who needs help, and helping them, lifting them, their spirits also. And lifting them, helping them any way we can. Thinking big, not thinking small, not being small-headed. And being great. Uncle Morris, I don't even have to ask, it's obvious that just like you did so much in this world, in the Olam HaEmes, you're going to be a Melis Yoser for your children, for your grandchildren, for the Mishpacha, for Chicago, and for all of Klal Yisrael. And Morris, I don't even have to ask, but it's obvious. Please bring us Mashiach Tzidkenu, B'meir B'yameinu, Ubila Hamavetz Lanetzach U'Malcha Hashem Elokim Dima Mel Kaparim B'Nei Amen.
ולפני מי עשו עושים גנים וחשבוין לפני מלך מלכם לכם הקדוש ברוך הוא ויורח וחבירים ולא ישחיס והיר בו לא ישיב אפוי ולא יאיר כל חמוסוי קדיש קדיש
יתגדש שמי רבו ומאוד נברוך
ישתבח, יתברך, יסיימם,
Yoishe v'sei Israel yoin v'sei Shada Yisrael. Oy mar ladaynu machzim v'sei Elef boy. Ki yetzel chok b'chakush mido avoy z'kos yes klof. Sachas knofov t'chsel tzino v'sichor amitoy. Boy z'sirot b'chavoy v'chis v'chis.
So the next landing, get up past the next landing. Okay, sideways. Down here. Next landing. Go up. Further? Lower in the back. Lower in the back. What? Lower in the back. Lower in the back.
They don't pass off for the landing. So trust me, I got you covered.
Wait. Why don't we go this way? Father went that way. Father went that way.
When you finish the steps.
Go slow. Watch it. Still more steps.
You're not going to be able to do it. This is a big one. You're going to have to hold it.
You're right. Straight. Steps here. You good in? Swing it, pick it up. Pick it up and go down an angle. Watch the steps. Watch the steps. Bring it down. Slow down a little bit. Watch. A little bit. There's people in the middle. Not going. A little more. Slow another step. Don't go on.
Place up.
Very thin spot. Hold on a little. The thin spot. What's it? What's it? Tomato.
Head that way.
Moving that side further. Go.
More.
Go.
Walk around the
Stay.
Stand.
ראש לכאן, ראש לכאן. תביאו את הראש לכאן.
You both of you go out.
Hold on, look. Go back.
Go. You go over the cave. Go over the cave.
בדיוק.
You walk further. A little further.
עקב בן מעלה לאלוהים מריסתכל בשלושה דבורים ואינת תפוליד יעבירו דם יין בוסו ולעונתו הילך ולפני מי עתו עושים דין וחשבון ויין בוסו מתפתוחה ולעונתו הילך למקום אחרים אצליו ולפני מי עתו עושים דין וחשבון לפני מלך מלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ויורח ומחת רבים ולא ישחיס ויהיר בו לא שיבה פוי ולא יאיר כל חמוסו יסגדל
יום מאוד יברוך יוסף ימליך מבוסי בחיי חוין ומלחוין וחיי דכל בית ישראל באגל לא ויזן קריב עמו אמן יתברך וישתבח ויספר ויסיימן ויסנסי ויסדור ויסעלה ויסעלות שמי גוד שוב וריחו לילה ונחלת בחסות ושיר הסוד ושיר הסוד ונחם הסוד עם יום בעל מוב עמו אמן יהי שלמה רבה מן שמאי וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמו אמן ויעשה שלום עמו ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמו אמן
לא לעמוד פה תרים אתה
מוישה יצחוק ורב יחיאל
כי מלאכיו יצא ולוך לשמורכו בכל דרכך Ort also darf ich drehen, da wird reden.
Darf ich drehen?
Nimmt das raus, hat ein Keich. Noch gedacht, in schreibt mal klapp.
We gaan nemen die stenen erop.
Voilà, wanneer is het? Wordt dat op
Come over here.
Lass hem.
Steht gut, ich kann kleine Kinder.
I know.
Stenen rebeseerd.
Doe.
Die balling. Je hebt plaats in de tijd.
Zo was het. Wat te doen? Tot goed. Nou, die wist dat het zijn. 1 minuut. En boord. Nee.
Nog 2 zakken dan?
Ja. Weet je alles nog voor je zijn?
Ah, wat stenen? Chef, geef me de gooite, zo. Let him get out. Yeah.
there?
Yes. Of course remember.
Zalmen. Da reißt die Kirche die Weiber, reden davon von Tomming.
Gib mir ein Messer. Da haben wir ein Messer. Ja, no, it's not. Nein,
ja, gut, ein Messer am Ei. Gib ihm Messer. Gib ihm das Messer, Peter, gib ihm das Messer.
What's the creative?
Vater, gib mir mal der. Gib mir mal der, לא נראה.
דודו מעדרים,
שלוש פעמים, והוא רחו
מחברו ולא יסריס, והוא רחו
ולא ישחיז.
דודו מעדרים, יש פה מעדרים.
מם המעדר.
גיב מעדרים, נו. מחטיץ מעדר.
והוא רחו מחברו ולא ישחיז, והיא בו לו של הפעילות וחמוסוי, וחיפר עד מוסוי עמוי. Ich bin noch hier. Ich bin Aber unten. Der Mato.
Der Mato, mach gleich.
Warte, viel Ton, viel normal. Ja, normal. Warte, Video.
Nein.
Gut. Noch einmal da stehen, dazu als Käfer. רבוי, סליקטו אבונים, מי שראה אבנים גדולות בחלקה להביא לצור הסקייבר. כל האבנים הגדולות. אבונים. גיב במפסיד.
Big stones.
mit Steinen. Seit Messade, auch in der ganzen Galaxie, so die bis zum. Ein Stein so lange der Schala wie kam kein Afanim im Zeves, aber ich sage, oh sehr gut, bringt er her. Was ist das? Heute von Nikto von
No, das ist besser.
Eben der Kasche gab es nie. Ein Stein so lange.
Don't you press against each other around the whole thing.
Bei der Schelle Zade. Das ist gut von Rosh.
Lass da rüber.
Da vor uns gehen noch, nein, ich war seine Fies. Noch, das ist aber klingt. Geht noch. Noch. Wo steht?
Na, das ist.
Sehr gut. Oh. Sie darf für uns gehen noch ins Größe mit den Füßen. Noch, nimm doch noch. Ja. Sie sind oben sein Guff, das schmierig. Noch stehen noch. Oida wohnen.
More stones. More here. Big one, please. Bring some press against each other. Around the edge. Passing more big stones.
Sehr gut, das kann mit was. Hat das seit mich aber Sakit kann akula. Vielleicht seit mich aber seit eine oder andere Sache ja. Wer so ein Kadisch der Mischpoche eigentlich kann so ein Kadisch? Ja. Wer? Ich komme da, lass mal rein in der Bank raus, lass mal rein in der.
Go on the side.
Ich gehe so ein Perik Teilim nimmt. So כמו כמקדוש רבי סלם, לפרק תהילים. עוד רגע. gibt Faid nach Perik Teilim zusammen zu sein. תזיין מכתום לדוד שומרני הלקי בסיסי בו אומרת לאדוני אדוני אותו תיבוסי בא לו לכו לקדושים אשר בו רצימו בדירי כל חפצי בום ירבו עצבו ישומחם מוהרו בעל הסיך נזכה מדום ובעלס ושמו ישומח לפוסוי אדוני מנוס חלקי וחוי סייעתו תוי מרגרו לי חבו לי מנופלו לי בנאים ממפנח ולא שופרו לי עבורי חסד אדוני אשר יוצאני אף לא יסיסרו לי כל יסוי שיביסי אדוני לנגדי סומית כמיני בלמוי לכן סומך ליבי ויוגל כבוידי אף בסור ישכן לו בטח כי לא יישא זיו נפשי לשאול לא יסיתן חסות לכל ירוי שוחס הוידי אין ירח חיים ירסמוך את אספונך נהימוי במי לפונך נעזו זה שתית קדש קדש יוסם
Biskada, Shmei Rabbo. Amen. Yomod Yivachim Seich Amichach Usei. Yismach V'choyin Korim Shechei. Amen. Yichoyin V'mechoyin V'chayid Chabeis Yisrael. V'agolov Yizran Kovi V'yimu. Amen. Yisbarach, Yishavach, Yisbarach, Yishaimam, Yisasei, Yisadov, Yisalov, Yisalov, Shemedi Kudsho, Berichu, Leilom, Yichud B'chosov, Shivasod, Shivasod, B'nechmasod, Yamirom Bomo, Vimu Amen. Hey, Shlomo Rabbo, Mishema, Yevchayim, Aleinu, Valko, Yisrael, Vimu Amen. Yisrael, Shalom, B'nchaymo, Yaseh, Shalom, Aleinu, Valko, Yisrael, Vimu Amen.
Amen. Moshe Yitzchak ben Rabbi Yechiel, Beshem Chedve Kadish Chasidim Yerushalayim, Beshem die ganze Mishpoche, alle Grebim ve'Yedidim, beten von euch Mechile. Erschot wenn ich neu wenn ich heute moroi ba Nesia Summit ba Kvura betikna Kever. All das was getan ist gewesen noch ich wollte. Moshe Yitzchak ben Rabbi Yechiel dat Amerit Soisher für die ganze Mishpoche, alle gute Freunde in Eretz Yisrael, in Chutzlaretz, alle Eltern, was ihr immer gelernt haben, alle was am Nennen gelernt von euch, hat Amerit Soisher für alle Mann, von den Kirchen soll mir kommen werden, der Posek von Yeshaya sagt, Bila Amores Netza, Mova die neue Lehim, die wir bekommen, ja, die neue Diber, Polizia in Goel, Bimeheiro, Vyomeinu, Venoi Maromein, Heich Beshalom, Besanuach Beshalom, Besame de Gerol, Kolekei Sayomi, Nisparda, Chavilo, Mipachat Afnal Chabures Vagudes, העדים. העדים. אחד החתנים יבקש מחילה בשם כל המשפחה והציבור יגיד 3 פעמים אוכו לכם. Hast verstanden, was ich gesagt habe? Mechile בשם כל המשפחה. מוישה יצחק ברבי יחיאל. בשם כל המשפחה.
בשם כל המשפחה, we ask mechile for the whole family.
מוכו לכם. חסד לנפטר, להניח אבן עם יד שמאל לתוך הקבר ולהגיד את הפוסק בסור אבינך, זה חסד של אמס. סור אבינך וחטוס חוטטוקו, שתף השולם, מנחם, משמיע שולם, הנחת שקישור auf die Töchter. In Sifrei Kabbalah steht am Beginn Zdoke bei Dikpure, ist Mamtig Gedinim für Nifter. Sagt sie auf Englisch, aber das
Sie gibt Zdoke bei der
Zdoke ist am Tokas Adinim für den Nifter. Moshe Yitzchak bebechil, wen geht es dein Mami wie? Rivke. Moshe Yitzchak bebechil ורivke. Zdoke לטובס הנשמה, am Tokas Adinim. Stock in Shure, falls du noch Avelo ist, macht nicht Shure für Freien.
There's a sure only for the men, not for the ladies.
Nicht so, wir können Menachem sein, aber nicht mit der Shure. Nicht mit der Shure. Moshe Yitzchak bebechil ורivke. ist keine Mitzvahs. Ich darf man nach Reus gehen, die Maschine, die Bische ist noch Rechev, also לא לעכב את ההחבייה. Ja.
Shut Mechila, name of the entire Tzibur, if we weren't Mechaber, Moshe Yitzchak Karoi, if we got Lusay, we ask all Mechilish, B'Merchaz, and Yanuach B'Shalom, Zizcham Shalom, Lekesi Yamin, Amen.
Amen. Mochel lachem. Da können wir zu Reus gehen, weil die Freuen will später reingehen.
Wenn moving out ladies come into the like ever also.
Ja, mit sollen zu Reus gehen. Nein, wir können nicht doch gehen, von der Sakone zu gehen. Ja.
Just like up.
Other minute, no. Don't be so happy now. Wie sie sagen, wir sind ja nicht erstmal.
Menachem משמיע שולם.
Let's finish this. Please head up so ladies can come down. Back with your left hand.
David, nimm den Zettel zurück.
Danke. Ich rate doch nicht weit von deiner Mama. Ich bin gesagt, gar nicht.